And we're live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Impact on Air, a collaborative project between Impact Hub Seattle, VentureScale, and Google. We have been looking forward to today's session on energy and the environment, and we hope you have been too. As you know, today we're going to showcase 3 fantastic social enterprises from across the Global Impact Hub network. They come from Greece, the Netherlands, and Kenya. And we really think these enterprises represent both the creativity of the social enterprise space and the geographic reach of the Impact Hub network, as well as the possibilities that technology unlocks, which include sharing this chat with all of you. A few quick instructions for anyone who's watching, either from home or from a viewing party. First, we're very excited to have you, and part of the reason we're using Hangouts on Air is because we want you to be engaged in this conversation. As our presenters talk about their enterprises, we invite you to submit questions through the event page at any point during their presentation. We do have a slight delay between when we speak and when your questions come through. So if you could try to submit them a couple minutes early, that'll help us make sure that we can get the right person to answer your question at the right time. We also want to give a special shout out to our viewing parties at Impact Hubs around the country and around the world. So a big hello to Boulder, Colorado, and Bay Area, California in the US. A big hello to Impact Hub Amsterdam and Impact Hub Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Grüezi to our friends in Zurich, Switzerland. And hola to Barcelona, Spain. I hope you remember me from visiting you just a couple of weeks ago. And of course, good morning to my colleagues in Seattle who are watching this event just a few doors down. Finally, if any of you have questions as we're going throughout the presentation about technology or any challenges logging on, we invite you to also engage with us on Twitter via Impact on Air, that's at Impact on Air, or on email at impactonair@gmail.com. My colleague Jack, if you could wave Jack, will be monitoring that. So we'll have someone available to answer your questions at any time. We're about ready to start, but first I want to introduce you to our experts for today's session. They are Ruben Walker, founder of African Clean Energy. Hi, Ruben.
Hi there.
And Alex Bashion of Invested Development. Morning, Alex.
Hello, hello.
All right. Today, you're going to hear from 3 outstanding enterprises, starting with, if I remember who we're starting with, I think we're starting with you, Gaspard, and the Perpetual Plastics Project. So, over to you.
Thank you, Candice. The people here of the viewing party are still running in. Hi, everyone. I think there were viewing parties in Barcelona, Zurich, Boulder, Seattle. Hi to everyone. Really great to have you watch my presentation. I'm just going to start it up right now. All right. So the guys you see over there on the machine, that's our team. We're 5 engineers. We're graduated at the Technical University of Delft. And about 2 years ago, we started this company called Better Future Factory. We're a design company, and we like to, besides that we have a love for a better future, we really like to make things. So I'm now going to present to you the story of our Perpetual Plastic Project. And I always like to start with the problem of the plastic, basically the plastic problem that we have in the world. So I like to use this slide from Stanford. A report from theirs in 2008, in which you can see basically a trend, a growing trend of plastic that's being produced more and more worldwide. And only since about the 80s have we started to also recover plastics, although that trend is not going as fast as we would like it to, which is of course a big problem. But I'm not going to talk so much about the problem, more about like how we see it as a system. So this is how I drew out basically the system of plastic. So you all know that plastic, well, most plastics actually come from oil. A lot of plastic products get manufactured in China, and then they get shipped over to us, and then we have more or less three options what we do with the plastic. It either gets landfilled, it goes to the incinerator, which they call energy recovery, which is a euphemism by my understanding, and about 10%, only 10% worldwide is actually recycled. Now, why is this? There's two reasons. The first of all is that the logistics of recovering plastics is really costly. Once it gets into the hands of the consumer, it's basically up to them what they do with it, and it's really hard to control a whole bunch of people with those plastic products. Second of all, producers, their manufacturing process is not adapted to recycled plastics. All their processes are adapted to the use of virgin plastics. And when recycled plastics go into the machine basically clogs. So these are the two reasons why we have this problem, by my understanding. This is me. I calculated actually how much money I was paying my own local government to take away my plastics. It's I have my information from the United Nations Environmental Program, which says that about the average European and American citizen, around about 2014, is consuming 140 kilograms of plastic. And so actually this cost me about 100 euros for them to pay to them to take it away. While actually in other parts of the world there are no waste management systems. You know, this girl in India, this is a girl from a waste picker community who is making a living of picking up plastics. Now, there are some other developments recently that have gone on. One of them is 3D printing, which has exploded basically. And the picture that I'm showing you now is from a guy in Togo, Africa, that assembled his own 3D printer from e-waste. And this is basically the kind of development that my company is also in. We have this information about 3D printing is available to us, and it allows us to basically make use of local waste as a resource. I'm going to skip this one movie that I was going to show you, but you can watch it on YouTube after my presentation is done. So the last thing that I want to give you is basically how are we now developing our technologies. So what we do is we make sure that we can use waste plastics for 3D printing. And we started out with plastic cups. And as you can see, with one plastic cup you can already make two rings. And the thing is that there's not only plastic cups in the world. There's also bottle caps, plastic bags, there's plastic powders, and there's plastic IKEA boxes. But we also did those. So actually our goal is to make sure that we are able to print with as many types of plastic waste as possible. Now, how are we making a business of that? And that's the last things that I wanted to show you. So first of all, we're setting up a business transforming municipal solid waste into a 3D printer filament. Second of all, we're now selling the machines that we designed, this technology, we're selling it to schools so that it actually can improve in their hands as well. We're also active in Africa at the moment, in Angola, by working with impoverished communities, basically, looking how they can use plastic to make products out of it, not necessarily 3D printing though. We are now also developing with IKEA a retail concept. And finally, we're also, because I just want to say a little bit about 3D printing, that sometimes people think that it's like the end solution to make things, but it's not. So we want to show this by basically creating a best practice library of products that are essentially fit to be 3D printed. And last of all, I just wanted to say to everyone, you know, we're a 2-year-old company, and we don't know everything about starting a business yet, but one thing that we do want to say to everyone is if you don't have fun, then you're never going to make it. So, thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Gaspard. You can go ahead and show us your face again now because we're ready to interrogate you. For everyone who's viewing, I strongly encourage you to check out the Perpetual Plastic Project website and video. They're doing just really exciting, cool design things, and we love the innovation and the fun vibe around this company. But first, I'd like to give you guys and our expert panel a chance to ask some questions. So if you're viewing and you have questions for Gaspard and for the Perpetual Plastic Project or Better Future Factory, please submit those now. Alex, Bashion, I'd like to turn it over to you to kick off our questions. What would you like to ask Gaspard?
Sure. Thanks, Gaspard. That was great. Probably sort of a twofold question. So the first being, when you're breaking down these waste plastics into new forms, are there plastic relating to health concerns or other issues that you might face from a regulatory standpoint? And second, I'm curious if you know, with the growth in 3D, how proprietary, how unique your technology is compared to, you know, many other innovations in the space right now.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Good question. So it's a twofold question. One was, are there any regulatory concerns that we are running into? And second of all, is our technology unique enough considering there's such a big market boom, right? So first of all, about the regulatory concerns, we are actually now running into them. In a sense, I showed you the thing that we're turning municipal solid waste into filament. Some types of plastics have bigger health concerns than others, and we're focusing on ABS to turn it into filament from the municipal solid waste. And especially with that one example, there's flame retardants. So we are actually forced to pick our partners right that are able to deliver the material in a way that is compliant to these regulations. But it's the only thing that I wouldn't say it's an obstacle, but the only thing that is the problem, I guess, is that we try to create a local loop, but because of these regulatory concerns, we are forced to look for partners that are located a little bit farther away, I would say. So that was the answer to the first question. And the second question, is our technology unique enough considering this market boom? We are really trying to focus on our strengths as designers and the strengths within our team. So we never said that the technology itself is not necessarily our core strength, but the fact that we are able to work with this basically this plastic recycling industry that hasn't been really innovating for a long while, and because we are able to make the step from waste all the way to the product, we have a kind of a unique position where we can also apply the waste directly in products, and we kind of know where it has to flow to. Whereas what I see in the market, what we've seen since we've started, is that there are people that are also fumbling around basically with the technology, but their goals are not the same as ours. They're not necessarily focused on solving this plastic waste problem. So I don't really think it's I don't really see an obstacle there either.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that question, Alex, and for that answer, Gaspard. It sounds like the real strength of your enterprise is in the fun of the design and the knowledge of the market. I'd like to ask Ruben to chime in, especially considering you were mentioning your plans to bring this technology to Africa. Potentially, maybe, Ruben, you've got some insights into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the premise is absolutely fantastic. One of the things that annoys me most is to see beautiful landscapes in developing countries, usually, that are completely dotted with empty plastic bags and other junk. So in that, I mean, if you could do something to take that away, that'd be absolutely fantastic. My only wonder is how are you going to make sure that that stops happening? I mean, are you going to set up collection systems for picking up the waste plastic, or where does the plastic actually come from, the recycled plastic?
Yeah, good question. So it really, like this approach that we're taking in Africa is really a community-based approach. So you have to see them as kind of little interventions that we are making in the state of Angola, basically, where there's no recycling administration whatsoever. It's like you say, the plastic bags are just floating around everywhere. And what we did was we tried to really, the first step was really to research, how is the plastic waste occurring, where are they, what are they doing with it, and where does it come from, and which is the most interesting to start recycling. Because what we really want to do is we really want to help these people to do it themselves, so they can profit from it. Otherwise, there will be no incentive for anyone to do something with the plastic, because there's no administration or no regulations, and people there just need to make a living. So the first step was really to see, okay, what can we make from the plastic, and come up with. We came up with two different concepts, basically. That's recycled plastic in a low-tech way, but could still be made into products. And the second step that we are now going to take in the next couple of weeks is we are going to go back to Angola, and with this community, we're going to with people there, with local entrepreneurs, we're going to try out these concepts and see if they can work.
Great. Thank you so much, Gaspard, and also Ruben for that great question. We have just a couple of questions, and then we'll need to wrap up and move to the next presenter. But first of all, we want to say hello to Impact Hub DC. We're really thrilled to see that you've signed on for a viewing party. So that's exciting for all of us here. And then we have a question actually from Tim. Is there a financial incentive for the communities in Angola, such as payment for the delivery of plastic to your site? So Gaspard, if you could just take a second to talk about what the financial incentives might be for the communities you're trying to help, that would be great.
Yeah, so it's a really good question. It's basically what it's all about. You have to give people an incentive to pick up the waste, and it's really down to the products. Looking at the market over there, what products are needed. So what products will have a value to be sold. So this is, we still have to, as I mentioned, we still have to go there and see if the things that we can prototype over there, if they will be bought basically by the local market.
Great.
And only if we get that going, then we know that that the system will work. That people will really start picking up the plastic.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that exciting initiative with us. Many of the companies that we're featuring in this series are still very early stage, so it's really exciting for us to see how you're developing and to think about ways that we might be able to help support each other throughout the network. Next, I am excited to present another very early stage company, smartairECOdeals, and here to present are Andreas Elias and Alex from Athens. Take it away.
Hello to all from Impact Hub Athens. First of all, can you hear me? Yes, okay.
Yeah,
so, first of all, Impact on Air, we would like to thank you so much for your kind invitation. So, my name is Andreas Elias, and my academic profession and professional background is related to electronic marketing.
And I'm Alex. Hello to all. I'm an architect, currently doing my master's in environmental design of cities and buildings. And I have teamed up with Elias over the past couple of years as a UI UX designer in several projects. We are currently working on a software as a service named after smartairECOdeals, which we hope to raise environmental consciousness to air travelers. Let us show you first an introductory video so you get a better understanding of our project.
Okay, we are back. So, after the video, why did we come up with the idea? When actually we choose an electric appliance, we always take into consideration the energy efficiency. When we buy a car, we take into consideration carbon emissions. But when we book an air ticket, we take into consideration the ticket price, the airliner, the in-flight services, but not the environmental impact, because that information is not directly available to us. So how do we try to approach the project? We have divided it, we have actually grouped it into three sections. The first section is related to developing, defining actually the algorithm with which we can calculate the carbon emission per passenger per kilometer based on several parameters such as the aircraft type, the age of the aircraft, the flight stage, cruising altitude, historical flight plans, etc., etc., etc.
The second part is about the analysis and the classification of the emissions data, along, of course, with its visualization to the end user. We work on developing a clean and straightforward way to help users identify the emissions level instantly, much in the fashion of the EU efficiency scale, which is instantly recognizable. This is actually a very important part of our project.
And actually we have the third part, which is a little bit spread the news, meaning that we tried to set up an online community. We tried to empower the green air traveler culture. We envision to set up a universal green list for airlines and airports, and even promote the voluntary carbon offset. Donation, yes. This business model, in brief, we have it in two sections. The first one is business to business, and the second one is business to consumers. The main interest is in the business to business, because it is a web service for online travel agencies via which they can use our data in their search results. We are currently completing the algorithm and preparing the alpha version.
And eventually travelers will be available to visit their preferred OTA, and next to the airfare, see our flight-specific environmental classification instantly recognizable, and make their choice, of course.
That was
And
it.
that's about it.
And we are back, right? Yes.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for showing us your product and how that works. It's really exciting to see you guys bringing some transparency, if you will, to that space, and helping empower both businesses and consumers to make decisions that are both good for their wallets and good for the planet. I'd like to turn it over now to Ruben for our first question. Ruben, go ahead.
Again, fantastic concept. I'm a huge believer in carbon offsetting, despite the fact that the system is in deep trouble at the moment. I think it will recover, certainly. And any effort to make it more insightful to the end user, that that they can have an impact on that, I think is great, and it will encourage airlines to buy carbon credits, which I think is fantastic. How have the major online travel booking companies, have you approached them, and how have they responded so far?
We have actually approached an airliner because we wanted to see their first reactions. And frankly speaking, we got our very first client. They told us that by the time that we have the alpha version ready, they will give us the green light to go to beta. Which is okay.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So, and you're going to process whether, so, okay, they can't really help what airplane they have, so, but will you process their carbon offsetting into it as well?
Well, actually, what they want to show is exactly how they want to promote it actually via Facebook and Twitter, that they are very eco-friendly. So, of course, it depends on the results. If the results are not that nice, then they might try to, hide some information.
Modern technology in aircrafts, the airline industry, aviation industry in general, is doing a great job in actually lowering carbon emissions. But when, for example, an airliner has a new fleet, you usually promote the in-flight entertainment systems and all the comfort equipment, and usually that energy efficiency stays in the background, if I must say. Now they want actually to promote that they are doing a good job in maintaining
the best they
can in energy efficiency as well, and this is a good way to bring it forward and also identify their advantage.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. It's great to hear a little bit more about how that works financially, and congratulations on getting your first big client. That's a huge win for any social enterprise. So very exciting to hear about that. I'm going to turn it over to Alex Bashion again from Invested Development. Alex, do you have any questions for the team behind this project?
Yeah, absolutely. I also think it's a great space, a huge opportunity. I know there's been a lot going on in that market. So I'm curious, from a competitor standpoint, are you guys directly competing with any other in the markets that you're targeting? How have you seen that going? How are you differentiating yourselves? And I'd be curious, this looks like it's a sort of a voluntary corporate social responsibility approach, but are the mandatory carbon markets affecting kind of this voluntary side of the equation at all?
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, at the time being, there is no competition, direct or indirect. You can find several, if you Google carbon emission calculator, you can find several calculators, but in most of the cases, they just take into consideration the distance between 2 points. Whereas in our case, we tried to set up an algorithm taking into account more than 30, 35 different parameters, per specific flight. Just to mention that for every single flight, we focus on we analyze the 700 previous flight plans for that particular flight, just to get an average and realize whether the data is accurate or not. As far as the service is concerned, it's actually not that much in voluntary basis, because we mainly focus our attention to online travel agencies, so-called OTAs, meaning that they will be paying a premium fee per year, with which they will get the web service. So next to the price for every single flight, they can show our rating, as Alex showed you in the last slide. Now, what was the next question? Yeah.
Sorry, the next question is, are the mandatory carbon markets affecting your work, since this seems to be voluntary? And it might be interesting if you talk a little bit, since you guys are based in Europe, about the different regulatory systems that might be affecting you there, and how that might impact your ability to expand to the States.
Well, there are several, of course, the 2030 framework for climate and energy policy and the carbon emissions market is a huge issue right now in the aviation industry, but we are mostly concerned about the end user. And what we really want to do is raise environmental awareness, so that the people will actually ask for a better
for a greener plane.
So we are mostly concerned with the end user, so we can create, let me allow me to use that word, the buzz, so that actually airliners will build on that. And,
actually, the key point is, if we can just say in one sentence, is if you visit your favorite online travel agency and you search for a flight and you come up with 10 different results with 10 different prices, next to each price you will see our indication in different colors, and we will be more than happy if you don't select the cheapest one, but you select the one which is quite fair price, and it also has the best rating eco-wise.
That was the best case scenario.
Yes.
Great.
That's great. Great answers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, for your questions, and thanks, team, for your answers. We just have a couple of other hellos, shout-outs to make. We've got Impact Hub Boston chiming in, and Impact Hub Bucharest watching. Just a reminder to our viewers, please submit your questions at any time. We'll have a couple of minutes at the end to go over anything that doesn't come in during the official Q&A session. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. And we have just one question coming in from the outside. Oh, someone's asking where to submit the question for Q&A. If you're on the event page, which I can actually post the link now. It's my first time trying this feature, so hold on just a sec. We'll see if that works. Oh, great. Yeah, if you're logged on to the event page, you can click Q&A and submit a question. We'll also take questions that come in through the comment field. So just do it right there on the event page. You can also tweet us at Impact on Air, and we'll be monitoring that and answering any questions as we go. Speaking of, I have one question from a viewer that we'd like to take, and that is, how do you plan on reaching travelers themselves for your B2C business?
As we have already said, we do not plan to have it on business to consumers. It is on business to business level. So this means that our service will be given to different online travel agencies such as Expedia, Kayak, etc., 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 and they will be using our data, displaying it within their search results.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for that clarification, and thanks again for presenting your enterprise. It's really exciting, and I think all of us at the Impact Hub Network would love to learn how we can support you. So please stay in touch with us through the event page. This is really all about building a community of social entrepreneurs who are inspired by each other and can help support each other. So let us know what we can do. All right, now we are excited to switch over to a joint team in Mombasa, Kenya, and Seattle, Washington. This is Waste Enterprisers, and here on the line we have Ashley and Timothy. So you guys, your mics are live, and you're ready to go.
All right, hi everyone. Thanks a lot for joining today. It's a real privilege to get to speak to all of you. So my name's Ashley. I'm the founder and CEO of Waste Enterprisers, which is our holding company in the U.S., and Pivot, which is our operating company in Kenya. We originally got started in Ghana and have been operating in Kenya since September of 2013.
Hi everybody, my name is Tim. I'm Ashley's partner in crime. She's the visionary and the genius, and I just try and keep up with her. I'm going to share my screen. Ashley, do you want to... Oops, hold on, let me do that. You can go ahead and kick it off.
Cool. Should I be seeing a...
You should. Do you see it?
Yes. Great.
Perfect.
So Pivot is really a dual kind of company where it wants an urban sanitation company as well as a renewable fuel company. Are you, moving through these? Okay. So I founded the company on the philosophy that the single biggest challenge to improving sanitation or human waste management in emerging cities is the cost of conventional systems. And so the real innovation in our business model is converting sanitation from a huge cost center, a huge budget item for governments and citizens, into a profitable venture. So really what we've done is figured out a way to make sanitation the byproduct or the positive externality of producing renewable fuel. So let me just take a few seconds to walk you through our process. So we receive waste from a variety of sources. In sub-Saharan Africa, where we're operating, most waste is generated in septic tanks or pit latrines, and it comes to us in big exhauster trucks that dump waste like you're seeing here. We can also receive waste from sewer networks and from dryer pit latrines. The first thing we do is run it through a mechanical dewatering process. This is a small machine that separates.
Did we lose Ashley?
Second. Sorry, Ashley, I accidentally, we were trying to make sure that we had you, had the screen on Timothy, and we accidentally kicked you off the broadcast. So you're back,
Okay.
and if everyone, can you just confirm that we're seeing the slides on Timothy's presentation now?
So from the dewatering, we go to a solar greenhouse, and it's there that we go from about 35 to 85% solids.
Oops.
No greenhouse. And then finally, from the greenhouses, we go to a thermal dryer. And there are two reasons we use a thermal dryer. One is to reduce the total area of the land that's required for our facility. And two is to fully sanitize the fuel before it leaves the plant and goes to the customer.
Sorry guys, I'm having problems showing the rest of the slides, unfortunately. Ashley, I think we'll have to just drop this and keep talking.
All right.
Apologies, technical.
So ultimately what we end up with is a solid fuel. It looks a lot like a small gravel, and it can be used as a direct replacement for coal or other biomass fuels by cement plants or for any really industry that burns coal or biomass fuels. And one thing that makes it a really attractive fuel to our customers is its energy content. So typically we have an energy value that's about 20% higher than conventional biomass fuels like sawdust, wood chips, coffee husks, cocoa husks. And we're anywhere from roughly equivalent to the energy value of coal to about 70% of the value, depending if they're using like a grade A, high quality coal or a lower grade coal.
Yeah, so I just want to take over and kind of say then the status of where we are and what we've done to date. I wanted to first make the kind of connection with Gaspard's business. You know, there's all of this plastic waste, 10% of it's being recycled. It's because it's not made into a valuable product. So, boom, his company comes in, creates the process to make it valuable, and now it can be collected, turned into something valuable, and sold, right? And so that incentivizes the whole collection. We're doing the exact same thing with poop. So just to help you wrap your mind around what we're working on. So so far, we did start in Ghana. We were founded there. We did a demo plant. We've made about 25 tons of fuel. We burned that fuel with a couple of potential customers, and at the same time, we were doing market studies across a few different countries. In Kenya, there was a great opportunity with cement kilns, cement industries located right next to a large urban center of Mombasa, and they were dumping all of their waste into the ocean. They have treatment. They have a treatment plant, but it only treats about 30% of the waste that comes into it, and it's only about 10% of the city's sewered. So huge amount of waste from tourist hotels, from poor communities, all of it going right into the ocean. So we were able to kind of pair our solution with customers, and so we have set up in Mombasa. We're currently under construction on our first commercial scale plant. We will be doing a demonstration scale, and hopefully by the end of the year, we will be producing about 5 tons of fuel per day in Mombasa and selling to customers there. The demonstration plant is to prove out that we can collect waste, we can process it efficiently, we understand our economics specifically, and we can sell for a profit and to show revenue. So we have raised support from some large grantors and also some social impact investors. Our supporters include the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a social investor called Factor E Ventures, which is fully funded by the Shell Foundation, the Stone Family Foundation in the UK, several independent impact investors, and we were connected to them through Unreasonable Institute, which is also kind of involved with the hub sometimes, and so yeah,
right.
and then
thanks, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last words. Sorry. Well, thank you so much, Tim and Ashley, for that presentation. I mean, it's exciting to hear the many ways that you're connected to the social enterprise community globally, and the way that Impact Hub has been a part of that. I want to make sure we have time for questions from our experts and from viewers. First up, I'm going to turn it over to Alex Bashion from Invested Developments. Alex, do you have anything you'd like to put before this team?
Yeah, I'll do my standard two-part question. I think you mentioned that you were initially working in Ghana and then it moved over to Kenya. I'm wondering if that's reflective of the operating environment and all, and how difficult it is to get the business done that you guys are trying to get done in these these business environments, these operating environments. I could imagine that there may be waste or sanitation groups in these cities or in these towns that may not take kindly, despite the obvious value add for the community. So I'm wondering if the operating environment's causing any issues, and then from a sales standpoint, are you looking at sort of repackaging the end product and distributing it at sort of the retail level, or are you selling it in bulk, or what's the strategy for distributorship and sales?
Yeah, great question.
The primary reason that we left Ghana was actually because there wasn't as strong a market there as there is in Kenya and other parts of East Africa. So when I started the company, we were actually experimenting with a variety of what I called waste-based businesses, ways of recovering value from waste. And when we honed in on the solid fuel business, Ghana wasn't as great a place for us to be based because there's very, very little industry there. As far as whether we're considering selling at the retail level, at this point, no. We have a couple of strong reasons for that. One, the B2B business model is logistically much, much simpler, right? I mean, the city of Mombasa has about 1 million people. At full scale, we'll produce about 40 tons of fuel per day. One cement company is burning about 500 tons of coal per day. So we really just need one customer and, of course, you know, a couple of backups to get rid of all our fuel every day. Whereas if we were considering the retail market, we would need hundreds or probably thousands of customers to offload our fuel. Second, you deal with the social resistance. Industries, if you can undercut the price of coal, they'll burn anything. They could care less that it comes from human waste. Whereas if you're trying to sell this at the retail level to households for cooking their dinner, would have some serious, I think, marketing to do, even despite the fact that it's hygienic.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great for me. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, I've got a slight delay here with the microphone control. Thanks again for that answer, team. I want to give Ruben a chance to ask you some questions, perhaps based on his experience as a social entrepreneur working with energy in Africa. Go ahead, Ruben.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a great idea. It's always fantastic when you can offset fossil fuel use with some kind of waste product. How much energy do you put into making the fuel in relation to how much you get out of it once you burn it?
We have a little bit of an echo, Ruben, so could you repeat that last part of the question? That's better. Go ahead.
How much energy do you spend putting to make the fuel versus how much energy comes out of the fuel when you burn it?
Okay, so energy efficiency. Got it.
So based on our assumptions at the kind of commercial scale, we'll be putting in about 1 unit of energy for every 10 units that we get out. So that the net energy gain is very good, and that's a lot of the R&D that we've been doing over the last 2 years has focused on making this system as absolutely energy efficient and cost efficient as possible. So you notice that greenhouses are a major component of our technology train. The mechanical dewatering system has a very, very small electricity footprint. And with the thermal dryer, we'll be burning our own fuel. And we burn about 1 ton of fuel for every 10 tons of finished product.
Great.
Very
All
good,
right,
right.
thanks. I think the echo is coming from you, so I'm going to mute you real quick. We've got several questions from Impact Hubs that are viewing around the world.
Cool.
I'm going to start with hometown favoritism and take a question from Impact Hub Seattle because it's related to what you just mentioned, and that's how do the costs for converting sludge to fuel compare to the cost of converting other fuels such as coal?
That's a really good question. We don't have kind of the cost comparison of the coal companies, but what we're able to do, because we're taking in sludge, at this point we're taking it in for free. We're not getting paid to take it, but I think in the future there may even be an opportunity to get paid to take in the feedstock. And then, as Ashley kind of mentioned, in terms of the process, not only are we looking to minimize the amount of energy that goes into it, but really optimize around cost. So as I mentioned, this 5 ton a day plant is we're doing that in a phased step. We're not going right to full scale immediately to prove out all of the numbers. So we have a very large kind of detailed techno-economic model that we've built where we're going to be able to plug in and test all of our assumptions in terms of the price. At this point, based on our pilot studies, we believe that we can make our product and sell on an energy basis, so a gigajoules per ton basis. We can sell it for a discounted price of probably 10 to 20% below what coal is going for, and still be able to make the profits that we need in order to sustain the system. On an individual project basis, in Mombasa, we should be able to make enough profit to sustain the system indefinitely, but then it gets interesting as we're able to kind of scale the business and maybe do 10 sites or 20 sites across multiple countries. That's when it becomes more than just sustainable, but financially pretty interesting.
Great. Well, thanks, Timothy. That's a great answer. I want to take a question from Impact Hub Boston now, which I think relates to what you were just talking about. And that's, is this designed for adoption by city governments or larger NGO/corporate support, or kind of ellipsis? Basically, is there a minimum scale that you need to reach with this enterprise to be viable?
Yeah, so we're shooting right now for cities of 500,000 or larger. Mombasa, as Ashley mentioned, is about 1.2 million, and that's a nice spot for us. And also, as Ashley mentioned, in the customer sales, we hope to be able to have 1 or 2 customers at most lined up to do an offtake agreement for the entire amount that we produce. We hope to fund each of these separate cities in terms of project finance. So we will build out a whole project for one area. It will have a relationship with the local government. It will have relationships with the suppliers of the collectors of sludge, and we'll have an offtake agreement with 1 or 2 customers for a set price for a set amount of years. So then each project will kind of be separately rolled out. Our kind of business model is based around being able to package these and do these over and over again. So a little bit to Alex's question in the beginning, is the business operations model, is it hard? And yes, it is, and that's part of our competitive advantages. Once we are able to kind of cookie cutter these and roll these out, because we have a system in place and we're able to do plant after plant because we've done it several times, that's where we think we're really going to be able to have a competitive advantage, a sustainable advantage. And Ashley, did you want to say, I think you had one other point about kind of the operations and maintenance that you wanted to add?
I just wanted to emphasize that one of the things that's unique about our model compared to competitors in the sanitation space is that, you know, we're set up to fully cover the capital and the operating and maintenance costs of the facility. So, you know, typically a government has to shell out tens of millions of dollars to build a plant, and then they have the ongoing operation and maintenance costs. Whereas with our model, we're covering that ourselves through revenue generated on the sale of fuel. So that's kind of our default model. I thought the person was asking about how governments purchase or pay for. We're open to other models, potentially joint ventures with governments, should they have the financial resources and want a stake in the business. I imagine that'll be kind of site-specific as we go along.
Well, thank you, both of you, Ashley and Tim.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Fun experience.
This has been really great. I want to first of all make sure we don't miss giving a shout out to Impact Hub Westminster, which has also logged on for this discussion. You know, I think I can speak for all of us when I say it's really exciting to finally have a chance to really connect with other social entrepreneurs connected to the Impact Hub community. That's what this is all about. And we've had some requests come in through our event page for you guys to share your information. So we would love it if you could send us any slideshows or videos that you'd like us to post. And viewers, Please check back on our event page or follow us on Twitter. We'll let you know when that's available. And we'd just love to stay in touch. I'll ask everyone for their closing thoughts in just a moment, but first I want to let everyone know that our next Impact on Air session is just shy of 2 weeks from now. You can RSVP on the Impact on Air page shortly. You can also check our official website, impactonair.com, for details. And that next session will focus on innovation specific to poverty alleviation. So we hope to see many of you tuned in for that. Now we've got just a couple minutes before we've got to sign off. So I'm gonna unmute everyone except Ashley, who's echoing. We'll let you know when that's available. And okay, it sounds like someone has the presentation running in the background. So I'll just go person by person and let each of you share some thoughts and comments as we get ready to sign off. I'll start off with you, Gaspard. We haven't heard from you for a while. Go ahead on the Impact on Air page shortly. You can also check our official.
Okay, so actually I don't know if you hear yourself in the background, but the presentation here is running about 15 seconds.
It's the viewing party. Okay.
Or something later, yeah. Maybe I'll just type in something in the window and then you can repeat it, my last thoughts, all right? Shall we do that?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Had some trouble muting you there. Well, okay. Gaspard would like to share, and I feel like what are those things called? Those puppets that people use. Gaspard says it's really great to get in touch, and we agree. We look forward to staying in touch with you as we move along. Let's move to Andreas, Elias, and Alex.
Thank you so much for letting us be part of this initiative. It's really inspiring, all the efforts that we've seen today. Really glad to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are most welcome. All right, we'll experiment with you, Ashley.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining today. It was great to hear about all the other businesses, and I hope some of the viewers will reach out if they have questions about Pivot.
Great. Tim, any last words?
Yeah, just thanks for having us on. It was really fun, and it's cool to be connected to multiple groups all around the world. It was very fun. Thanks.
All right. Ruben, it's your turn.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. I'm flattered I was asked to do this, and it's been brilliant. All three ideas, I think, have really high potential. And if I can give a chauvinistic shout-out to our new website, which is africancleanenergy.com, I'd advise everyone to go and have a look at that and see our new ultra-clean biomass cook stove, made in Africa.
Great. Thank you. All right, Alex, you're almost last.
Yeah, I'd just say, you know, I think all the teams that we heard from sound, you know, really well balanced and well put together, and the ideas are great, and it looks like you guys really have your hands around. You know, you've done your homework, and you're going after it. So that's great to see. Congrats. Look forward to hearing how you all do. Keep it
great. Thanks, Alex. And finally, I'm going to ask our sleeper agent in this chat, Jack Nellinger, to say hi.
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. I know there were a lot of live viewing parties taking place around the world. Appreciate all of you coordinating those efforts, and glad to see people connecting. Feel free to be in touch, and if you'd like to connect with any of the people on the call here, just email us at Impact on Air. So thanks a lot, and look forward to the next few sessions coming up.
Great. All right. Well, once again, we want to be sure to thank Google for funding this project, as well as Impact Hub Seattle for their support and Seattle-based Venture Scale for organizing us and putting this together. We also want to thank everyone who's watched along with us, both live and those who we hope to meet through YouTube. And we hope to see you again soon. So thanks, everybody, for participating, and stay in touch.